What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
AFC South side. AFC South side. AFC. Are you ready for the fight? Nighty night, lights out, no Tyson. About to be the clash of the Titans. Strike like a lightning bolt. You feel the ground pounding, that might be the coast. Quick like a joke, like to hit when provoked. Don't you doubt that. That's a Jaguar to a house cat. That's an outcast to a whole squadron. If you talking Houston, then we've got a problem. You'll probably get the horns if you mess with the cattle. Sit back in your saddle and get ready for the fan battle.
Guys, welcome back to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. As you know, I've been kind of running things while somebody has been getting transitioned. Now that it is done, let's welcome back Samuel, a.k.a. Sammy Difficulties.
I am back. What transition was I supposedly getting, Matt? Please do tell the class.
From a Jags fan to a Texans fan. I mean, you already got one son that's a Texans fan.
Literally would never. No, stopped becoming a Texans fan when J.J. Watt retired. Anyways, hello everybody.
Whoa. I thought she was busy getting reelected to the Jalen Ramsey fan club.
That would literally never happen either.
Unopposed. She's running unopposed.
She was down there trying to get him out of that speeding ticket. You know, that's what she was doing.
Anyways, back in the saddle. Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the AFC South Fan Battle Podcast. I am Samantha Burnett. I am back. I've been on a hiatus. I've been extremely busy. It's been rough. Yeah, there's been a whole lot going on. What's up, guys? What's up, Harish?
Bro, do you see how much has gone on? In the last 18 years, I haven't seen you. I've been shitting so much on my GM that I hate the entire organization at this point. I probably hate my team organization more than you hate the Jags.
I love the Jags default. To be fair, it's one of my biggest downfalls in life is the fact that I love them. However, I think that it's just in the cards for the Colts that they just always are going to have an old quarterback. You just couldn't.
God, I hate it so much. As soon as they said Joe Flacco's a starter, I wanted to jump off of a bridge. I was like, "Are you kidding me? We're back to the same crap again."
I laughed so hard when I saw that. I was like, it literally is in the cards for the Colts to have old, washed-up quarterbacks. That's just where we're at, and that's just where we are at.
You know what the worst part is? I tried really hard, really, really hard to believe in Shane Steichen, and only after 20 weeks, I'm done. I've given up. I want a new head coach. Blow the whole thing up. I'm so done with this whole regime.
We'll trade you
Taylor later on.
I'll trade your Taylor for Shane right now. Straight up. We'll just trade him.
Shane Steichen?
Yeah.
I'll trade him in a heartbeat.
Well, we'll dive into that a little bit later. But speaking of firing people, the Bears. Does anybody want to talk about the Bears?
Well, you going to introduce the rest of us or just the Harish?
Oh, my bad. I thought it.
Yeah, you got to introduce the coolest guy on the show.
Yeah. Sorry. My bad. All right. My bad. So for the Colts, you already heard him go off on his tangent. Harish Nukala. Anyway, so where were we? No, I'm just kidding. All right. For the Texans, Matt Briggs.
What up? Let's go.
That's it. All right. Short and sweet. Representing the Jaguars, we have the third best Josh Allen.
Wrong. You have to introduce me as your mom's favorite Josh Allen because that's
she forgot already.
I think she might be retracting that statement. I don't know. We're gonna have to do polling for that. And representing the Titans, we have the only person from the Titans who would show up. I mean, God love him because he actually came through. Ken Moore, how are you?
What's up, everybody? Good to be here. Yeah, I don't know why my fan brothers, you know,
During
haven't shown up, but
during the Mayo coma, during the Mayo coma.
They're in hell
So-
elements.
I've been thinking a lot about the show, and like I've missed it a lot. I've missed being on here, and although not watching the sport, watching the sport this season has not been fun, obviously, for me. But like you kind of reflect on past episodes. We've had some really like cool, like guests. We've had Jimmy Smith, we've had Tom McManus, we've had Michael Griffin. We've had all kinds of people on the show, right? This is what, 6th season, 5th season? What season are we?
6 seasons.
That's
So much time
insane.
you missed.
6 seasons, okay? But the one show that I can't get out of my head because it keeps popping back into my memories like generational trauma is when what's his face had the Tennessee, what did he call it? Tennessee.
Yeah, Michael.
He literally took mayonnaise and put it in Tennessee whiskey and drank it on the show.
It's who is that?
Michael
forgot his
Newsom.
Michael.
No.
Yeah, Michael.
No, see,
We
I think
asked
that
him
was
to come back
I think that was the beginning of the end for me. I couldn't do it.
Ken, you got your whiskey and mayo ready?
Nah, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No,
He said, not today.
not
No.
my quarterback.
I, for one, greatly appreciate the fact that you are not going to do that because I think that was kind of the downfall. I think I missed a lot of shows because every time I'd get on here, I'd just have like these flashbacks of him drinking the mayo and whiskey and what? But we got some Titans fans in the chat, so that's good. And thank you, Ken. We appreciate you coming on when the other ones wouldn't. So take this as a what should we say? We need Titans commentators, right?
Do we? Do we? I mean, they all say the same things. You
I
know,
don't think Titans commentators want Titans commentators. I think
I
they just
think,
want to like watch the games in peace.
Titans commentators are usually too busy looking at shirtless pictures of Derrick Henry and crying he's no longer on their team.
Crying into them now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get your feedback on that because he's broken some records, some career records, and man, that's going to be good to dive into. All right, NFL news, Matt. Let's go. The Bears head coach. I tried to do it, but you were like, "No, Sam, have you forgotten?" And yes, I have forgotten. Okay, it's been a while. I figured it was like riding a bike. We don't need pre-production, right? I just jump on here, but no, I got to go screw it up. Here we are. It's just the same old song and dance. I'm back,
Yeah,
baby.
it's cute that you pretend that we did pre-production before. We didn't really.
We did.
Yeah,
we did the first.
We winged it all the time.
We did it the first 2 seasons, and then we, acted like we were pros. That was cute. Remember that? Anyways, go ahead, Matt. Break it down for us.
Oh yeah, the Bears fired their OC after a loss against the Patriots. So, I mean,
It's too bad the Jaguars didn't do that. Well, we won.
Does Shotgun know that that's allowed? Someone should text him. Let him know. Like, hey,
I
man.
think all of us, every team right here, or except maybe the Titans, would be okay. We fire our OC right now. So,
Well, I don't know that we have a functioning OC because our OC doesn't do anything because our coaches call us to plays.
right. No.
There. Yeah, I'm the same. Jim Bob Cooter, what a guy.
Jim Bob Cooter. That's a former Jaguar.
That is a great name. Though.
It is a great name.
Amazing.
It's also a not so great OC. Not like he's the OC, but we'll talk about that.
But yeah, Thomas Brown now takes OC play calls, and he is the former head coach of the Rams. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's big news, but
That's how you know it's the beginning of the
So
end.
there's rumors, as I'm sitting here reading, there's rumors for in 2025 for the Bears to hire Mike Vrabel.
That would be an excellent hire.
that could be a possibility.
I could possibly
Vrabel and Belichick among favorites, it says.
What
Belichick?
were you thinking?
Usually when you fire the OC, that's a prelude to the head coach being fired. It's funny because they interviewed like 7 guys to be the offensive coordinator, and one of them wasn't Cliff Kingsbury, who was Caleb Williams' old coach. So they don't know.
Crazy, right?
Go.
Oh, no. Caleb Williams was under Lincoln Riley. At Oklahoma. I think you.
Either way, crazy stuff.
Correct.
Yeah. Lincoln Riley. Oh no.
I heard they had a
Caleb
disagreement on
Williams
what
did by myself.
color fingernail polish Caleb Williams is going to wear this Sunday, and that's why he got canned.
That's funny. That is funny.
And then the next one
yeah,
is Dublin is going to be having some games in 2025 by the NFL.
So I have a question about this because I haven't been keeping up. Obviously, I've been busy. Has there been any talks about like how far, or has anybody seen any news about how far they plan on taking this? Like how like
Forever. The way that Goodell has talked about it, they're expanding it. They're adding like 2 or 3 more games next year. The way this dude is talking about it, he does not want it to ever end. You know, and I think
he talked about Spain next year too.
Yep. Spain's
so they're just going to basically have like a Europe tour. I don't know. I feel like possibly. So next year, the Jaguars will have full capacity for their games. And then they will be like, it'll be played as usual, but they're going to start taking down the top rows. And then they're going to be God knows where. For the 2026 season. And I'm wondering if like by then, if we have all these European games, if the Jaguars just play all of their home games in Europe.
Would be shocking.
Because we're not gonna have anywhere to play.
In 2026, it'll be the 250th anniversary of the United States declaring war and declaring independence on Europe. That will also be the season, I think, where the Jags are completely displaced. That and like think part of 2027. I think the best revenge we could get on England is forcing them to have to attend an entire season of Jacksonville Jaguar home games. Send that team to London for a whole year, and I guarantee we will cure them of ever wanting to see the Jacksonville Jaguars play ever again.
I mean, there's not a large base of Jaguars fans there. Anybody that I talk to, like I talked to the guys on the franchise tag, and anytime I've talked to them about it, there's not like a massive Jaguars base in England.
There's not
without them shoving it down people's throats.
Anybody. Yeah, I don't think
well, there's a lot of from what I hear, there's a lot of Patriots, there's a lot of Cowboys, stuff like that. Like
Chiefs fans are becoming big over there.
Well, yeah, because of the Super Bowls and stuff. I mean, it's the same as all the women being Chiefs fans over here.
Yeah.
And Tanner. But
but I think it was kind of writing in the sand about Dublin is when Pat McAfee went over there for the Georgia Tech game. That went wild, and it was like one of the biggest things in sports this year.
That's where I want to go to Dublin, and I want to go to Germany. The games in Germany, I don't know if you watched this Sunday, any of the games, that crowd was absolutely lit. They were singing John Denver songs and Sweet Caroline the whole game. Like,
they do that at every. Don't they do that at every game? I think every European game they sing.
All I know is the crowd there seemed like a lot more fun than the crowd in England.
They say that those tickets sell out quick.
Yeah,
I tried to buy tickets to the Germany. I tried to buy tickets to the Germany game. The Colts went to last year, and I couldn't. Can
we talk about this guy's username? Hold on. What?
Poppy Papsmear.
Poppy Papsmear says, "Have a Friday night game."
So interestingly enough, once the college football season starts, there is an FCC, Federal Communications Commission rule in place. The NFL is not allowed to play games on Fridays until the second to last week of the regular season in the playoffs. That is owned. The Friday nights are owned exclusively by NCAA football. The NFL is not allowed to have Friday night games, regardless of whether they're played in the United States or elsewhere. They're not allowed to have live nationwide broadcasts of games on Friday.
Really? Even after
is that to stop a monopoly?
Probably.
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at the history
of it. Is there really a monopoly though?
Hold on, Ken. Go ahead, Ken, because their mic's overpowered.
Yeah, okay. No, that's fine. It's to protect the high schools.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
But I only want the Dublin games if Pat McAfee's there. If Pat McAfee is not there, I don't want to happen. Like
When's
Pat
the last time
McAfee
we
had-
tweeted him?
It's been a while. I need to get back on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but dude's so busy. I mean, who knows? He might come back on. But
Hey, he follows the show. Come on, Pat. Come on, Pat.
But we don't want a Dublin game without Pat McAfee. He's the one that makes it live. So yeah, if they don't have him, I don't want it.
Sound like a closet Colts fan over there.
And Pat McAfee's really 4-letter words for me. So
Yeah.
it is what it is.
All right.
Well, any more NFL news, Matt?
A quick one. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce's house got burglarized this weekend.
Oh shit!
I did not hear about this one. Let me pull this one up.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this either.
Crazy that it was them two. Like, do they live next to each other?
I know they're not next to each other, but in the
Same neighborhood.
same area.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Here we go.
Travis really-
TMZ. Let's pull up TMZ.
yeah, because they're all
Sources familiar with the situation tell TMZ Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift didn't take any chance during last month's break. Oh, last month.
Oh, was last month? I read it was this weekend.
Well, yeah, no, they just updated it. Last month's break-in at his home. Our sources say Travis and Taylor stayed at a downtown Kansas City hotel on the night of October 7th burglary after the Chiefs' Monday Night Football showdown with the Saints at Arrowhead Stadium. We're told Taylor and Travis's security wasn't playing around after the break-in. And then it says they've obtained more information on the Travis Kelce break-in, with police report stating his home was broken into around 7:33 p.m. on Monday, October 7th, shortly after Monday Night Football kicked off. According to the document, $20,000 in cash was taken and his back door was damaged.
Here's a hot tip: don't leave $20,000 in cash laying around in your house, regardless of where you live.
He has that $4 million Pfizer money.
That's like those leaving $20 around.
So it says Mahomes case officials say they're investigating it. I guess the original thing said it was on October 8th. I wonder if it would be funny if this was Jackson Mahomes.
That kind of.
I mean, come on. So Pat Mahomes, it doesn't say what was taken, but Travis Kelce has a very specific amount of money and stuff taken. Where was Patrick, or where was Jackson? Just saying. Where was
He's
Jackson?
probably
Was he doing
probably
TikToks?
assaulting somebody in a bar.
Or yeah, that too.
Well, I do want to say something real quick about not the crappy Kelce, but the good Kelce. Can we please quit giving this man a hard time?
Which one? Jason, you're talking about?
Yeah, everybody's upset over what he did at the Penn State game. Like, don't bug the man while he's trying to be in peace. Like, I get it.
But you got to be better than that. Like, I get it. The dude was a tool. What he said was moronic.
What did he say? What happened? What happened?
So he comes up to,
I can
Jason
try to pull it
Kelce,
up.
and he says to him, basically, I'm not going to say the actual word because we'll get demonetized across all platforms, but he's taunting him about his brother dating Taylor Swift. He's basically like, what is it? How does it feel that your brother's gay because he's dating Taylor Swift? And he drops the F word, slur. The Kelce turns around, takes his phone and smashes it on the concrete. Now, don't get me wrong, it was hilarious. But if you're Kelce in that scenario, you got to know they're baiting you into getting a reaction, because everybody wants to be a YouTuber now.
I can show it. Play it if y'all want me to.
Is it beeped out? What the guy says to him?
Share your screen.
You know how to share, Sam?
Hey. You watch that tone.
Well, I get what you're saying.
Fairness, your camera's not on and you're talking. So
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Yes, I know.
I get what you're saying, Josh. You're 100% right. But to say that this man deserves to be canceled on every platform and gets fired, that's a little much.
No, that's stupid too.
Right.
But he owned it. He came on and he did exactly what he should. He said, "Hey, I shouldn't react that way." What the guy said was wrong, but I got to be better, and I can't. Boom, move on. It is what it is. Now, if he does it 3 or 4 more times, then somebody's got to have a conversation with him and say, like, "Hey, dude, you got to control your temper." But no, I don't care. I'm over it. Done with it. whatever. Everybody's trying to cancel him. Is just looking for attention. There's
I
morons.
forgot about it. So that's how much I
Yeah.
care.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with Josh. It was hilarious. I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought it was funny too.
What he
Then I also
deserved. I mean,
There's a lot of people in this world that just need to be punched in the face, right? People have gotten way too bold, way too daring with what they say to other folks, and like some
You ready?
violence sometimes is the answer.
go ahead.
Can I get a fist
Oh
bump?
yeah, I do remember this.
Kelsey. Hey, Kelsey. How does it feel your brothers are Kelsey, can I get a fist bump? Kelsey, can I get a fist bump?
That's it.
Oh, did he say like that word, like that derogatory word to him?
Yeah.
It says
Oh, Jesus.
homophobic slur. So
Oh.
anyway,
And I don't think that guy's really trying. Listen, what that dude is trying to do is get the reaction that he got, right? So the only way to defeat those sorts of morons is just to ignore them and not give them a reaction. Right?
Well, that's how we know he doesn't know how to talk smack, because he had to resort to using that term.
Right. It's not even creative, dude. Like, come on.
well, and on top of that, I probably wouldn't have apologized. I would have sent him a check for a new phone, maybe, and been like, "Get out of my face next time." But that's just me.
I wouldn't have done anything. Like, don't be talking smack about my family, bro. That's
Yeah.
on you. Sorry.
Well, you know how people are nowadays. They'll sue them for emotional
Well, then
damage.
hold on, Harish. If you don't want people talking about your family, then you need to get on Texas Twitter because they are roasting BT.
Oh no! Oh no!
What
Oh
is
no!
it?
Please,
Family,
no!
not losers.
Before we jump into the teams, we have a lot of questions, so we need to jump into the teams. But I want to hear this.
He's
No,
your
I was
family,
just kidding. I was just calling
It's your
BT
family.
Harish's cousin. I was making a jibe
Damn.
at Harish, but
Damn.
Dang
Damn.
it.
Too
Oh,
bad.
I love you, buddy.
All right, Ken. Well, listen. Are you ready?
What's that?
You ready to break this down? Let's pull up some of these comments here. So the Titans lost, didn't we all? To the Chargers. So let's get back. Let's see. We got some I'm here with you. We got some tighten up. Some mayo is banned in my house. What else? Titans wouldn't miss much by firing their OC. Let's see. Anyways, you get the idea. Here's a question for you. Do you believe in Will Levis? This is Evan Payne. Do you believe in Will Levis? Tank or nah? I think we're all on the road to tanking, but we'll get there.
No, I do not believe in Will Levis. I believe he sucks. And yes, we need to tank. We need to lose out. We need to get a top 2 pick. We need to hopefully select Shedeur Sanders in the draft. This season has been a complete and utter disaster from the top down. The free agent signings were mid at best. Probably Tony Pollard is the only one that's been productive.
Hold on, Ken. Before you move on, I was told that
Oh God.
Calvin Ridley was the top 2 receivers in the division. I was told that he was the decision factor. Him and D-Hop were going to tear up the league as well.
Sounds like an RJ. That sounds like an RJ Ellison comment.
Was I wrong? Or is that what they said?
That is what they said. That is what you call make a wish.
Make a wish.
Make a wish. Hope did not come to fruition. Calvin Ridley's good, but he is massively overpaid as he was in Jacksonville. He's massively overpaid in Tennessee. I thought it was a bad signing when we did it, although I understood why we did it because, the hope was surround Will Levis with weapons. Let's see if he works out. Obviously, that has completely failed epically. The coach, Callahan, he's been a disaster. Can't call plays, just terrible at what he does, in my opinion. A lot of people want to give him a pass as being a first-year head coach. I don't, because there are a lot of first-year head coaches that succeed, or at least look competent in what their job description is. And he has not looked the part as far as a decision maker, as far as X's and O's, as far as clock management, time management, game management. He schemes up some nice plays every once in a while. We probably have one of the best first quarter teams in the league. We score every first quarter, and we suck for the next 3 quarters. So there you go.
You know, it's funny you mention all this, right? This is kind of where we're at in the league, and we do it with everything. We do it with quarterbacks, we do it with head coaches, we do it with GMs. The moment somebody does something like really well for like 6 or 7 weeks, that's the next big guy, right? That's the next guy that knows everything. And Brian Callahan is that guy. Shane Steichen is that guy. We can even start to name that around. Like these guys are not prepared to be NFL head coaches. Like being an offensive coordinator is not just being a head coach isn't saying, oh yeah, I'll manage the offense and I'll bring Billy Bob Joe to manage the defense and everything's going to be fine and dandy. That's just not how it works. It's a completely different thing. It does require a skill set, and I think that's missing from the league. So the fact that you said that, very interested in the fact that you said that, because I would agree with that statement, and I think that's just a failure amongst the league of thinking like the hottest new name is just the guy that's just going to come in and get it, because it's not that simple.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at some of the guys that have been successful, they're not always the hot coordinator. Mike Tomlin wasn't a hot coordinator when he got hired years ago. He just kind of came out of nowhere. Sean McVay, he just kind of popped out of nowhere. It's like, whoa, where'd this guy come from? So you can't just look at, okay, this guy worked with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's great, so he's going to come here and be great. Or this guy worked with Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts was great, so he's going to come here and be great. It doesn't work like that. You have to delve into, okay, if I was interviewing someone, what do you do on 4th and 2 at midfield with 1:58 to go and 2 timeouts? Tell me what you do there. Those are the type of conversations I want my coach to be able to have. Not, can you draw up Y banana, X right, tango 2 down the field. A whole lot of people can do that, but can you manage situations? And our coach hasn't shown that he can do that. So
I got leaving the game the other day. I got in this conversation with my friend Chris. I have season tickets. We go to the game together. Not obviously can't say much as a Jags fan, but the Titans are definitely on Jags fans' radars. And so we got talking about we used to be so afraid. What was the downfall? And earlier Evan Payne had mentioned emotional distress. So I wanted to bring up some emotional distress real quick for the Titans fans, if you will. So this is every AJ Brown catch from the Cowboys.
Doubled up and dropped at about the 13-yard line.
Wow.
Dang.
It's just so beautiful.
I can do things like that.
Just wait for it.
This is nasty work.
That wasn't even a good throw. I mean, we'll skip ahead. I won't make you go through all of them, but look at that.
Dang.
That's AJ. Here, this will be the last one. Wait for it. Oh, beautiful.
Look at that.
Oh,
You see that number there at the bottom, Ken? That's 100. That's like plus. That's a good thing.
So what's next? Some clips of Derrick Henry. Don't put this man in early grade.
I mean, I can do that. But anyways,
It's not
I don't want to put you.
He's about to pull out the bleeps.
Don't
White
drink
one.
it, and don't drink it. My point of showing that was as we're watching that, I'm like, man, that was really the beginning of the end for the Titans, because I will never forget. I think we were on stream during the draft, and they're like, the Titans just traded AJ Brown, and then it
So
was literally all downhill from there. Then Vrabel goes, and the rest is history. So, what are you thinking? What was the beginning of the end for you?
oh, that was it. I'll tell you a quick story. So me and one of my best friends, who is a Colts fan here in Houston, we were out eating crawfish at the draft at a bar, and I'm watching the screen, and I see the scroll, AJ Brown traded to Eagles.
Crazy.
And I'm like, what? Like, I literally could not eat the rest of my crawfish. And if you're from Texas, we eat crawfish like
Finish our crawfish down here.
in the springtime.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sitting there with one of my best friends who's a Colts fan. He is dying laughing. He is having the time of his life.
Is your best friend Maurice Nucala?
Huh?
Is your best friend Maurice Nucala?
Dude, AJ Brown was a nightmare for us.
He was a nightmare for y'all. He was a nightmare for the Colts.
It was so good.
Oh my God. He can't really tease me now because the Colts are so bad and he's so upset like Harish at Shane Steichen. But that was the worst draft day experience I think I've ever experienced.
And so from here, like they were mentioning tanking and do you tank from here? I mean, so this is the sad reality of the AFC South. Is like we're all trying to tank except for the Texans, which, we'll get to that. But
I don't know if they're trying to.
We're trying to tank. Yeah, we're trying to tank.
I don't know if you're trying to tank. You're trying to win. I feel like at this point, though, there's no hope. Like all hope is lost. The AFC South, like what could have been, like what happened? We were literal content. Like everybody was talking about us last year and the year before, and then look where we're at. This is just insane. But so where do you think, after watching this game versus the Chargers, what are the needs? What needs do the Titans need in order to at least you feel secure?
Wow, that's a great question.
A time machine?
I mean,
to reverse the trades.
First they have to realize where the holes are. Everybody thinks we have a great defense. Oh, the Titans have number one defense in the NFL. Well, the defense sucks in the red zone. The defense doesn't force any turnovers. So first and foremost, you need some playmakers on defense, right? Some guys that can force turnovers, some guys that can get to the quarterback on a consistent basis. I think we have a pretty good front with Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat in the middle. Harold Landry's pretty good on the outside, but there's a lot of help that's needed as far as the linebacker position and the edge rushers. Obviously, we need to shore up the right side of the offensive line. We don't have a right tackle. We don't have an NFL caliber right guard. So those are two problems. Obviously, everybody knows that we need a quarterback. I think the one advantage that we have over the other teams in the divisions is that Jacksonville still thinks that they have a quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. I'm not sure that they do. The Colts, they still have to spend at least another year, I believe, investing in Anthony Richardson. The Titans, at the end of this year, as of right now, they know that Will Levis is not the guy. They're just going through the motions just to save face at this point. So I think that's the one advantage that we have is that we know we need a quarterback. Well, I don't know if the Jags and the Colts know if they need a quarterback. Obviously, Jags can't draft a quarterback because they just gave Trevor Lawrence $500 million. Colts, I don't know. I'll leave it to Harish. He can talk about that and what he thinks that they need to do. But I think that's the one advantage that we have is that we know what we need. Now we just have to go out and get it.
Well,
yeah. What do you think? Real quick, sorry. Do you think benching Ryan Tannehill when you did? Do you think that was a smart move? Should he stay? Should he have stayed in?
No, I think that was a smart move at the time. Tannehill had showed that he had lost a lot of mobility. Tannehill is the type of guy where he has to have protection. And our offensive line last year was worse than it is this year. So they could not protect Tannehill, and Tannehill could not protect himself. At least last year, Will Levis could move around a little bit and protect himself. And Will Levis actually wasn't horrible last year. He had moments where you said, wow, this guy may surprise some people and may be able to be a Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, that could kind of be his ceiling as a quarterback. So, no, it was time for Ryan to go because he could no longer protect himself, and we didn't have an offensive line that could protect him.
Yeah. Well, any final thoughts before we move on?
No, I'm good. I'm happy where we are at 2-7. I'm hoping that we can end at 2-15. Now, all truth being told, my predictions at the beginning of the year, I thought we would battle the Texans for first place and be around 9-8. That was my hope with a competent quarterback. I was completely wrong on my prediction for my team this year. So continue to suck out and suck for Shedeur. Yeah, that is the slogan.
So suck for Shedeur. So next week you guys play the Vikings?
Yes, that should be fun.
Okay. What is your prediction?
Sam Darnold is turning into a pumpkin. Had 3 picks last week. Had a lot of yards against the Jags. But I think
he sees ghosts. You remember when he played for the Jets and that was the game where he's like, I'm seeing ghosts? I think it's something about that stadium. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, he's turning back into Sam Darnold. But their defense is wicked with Brian Flores. That is going to be a disaster for the Titans offense. I see us scoring. We normally average about 17 points a game. I'll be happy if we get 10. So I'm thinking about 24-10 Minnesota.
All right. At least it's honest. I like it. Thank you, Ken. All right. From a defense that can't stop people in the end zone to an offense that can't make it to one, Josh Allen and the Jaguars.
Well, listen, I don't know what everyone's complaining about. The Jacksonville Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, said at the beginning of this year that this is the best roster that the Jacksonville Jaguars organization has ever put on a football field. So, we are clearly reaping the results of that. I'm gonna disagree with our esteemed representative from Nashville, and I will say that I believe that the Jaguars know that they have a quarterback, and I think Sunday definitively proved that. I think what the Jaguars do not have is a GM, a coach, and an offensive coordinator. Somebody tweeted this or posted it on X or whatever the heck we say
an offensive
those
line,
things are now.
defense on the back.
That what you see is what you saw on Sunday is a bad quarterback and a bad system. And you compare that to how Trevor Lawrence has played this year. You see what a good quarterback can do in a bad system. I do believe that Trevor Lawrence is a franchise quarterback. I think he's worth every penny, that they paid him. But I think, Doug Peterson and Press Taylor cannot get out of my town quickly enough. Mac Jones, love the kid, hometown kid from Jacksonville, grew up here, played high school here, before he went on to college at Alabama. But, he sucked. Like, he just straight up sucked. Like, there's no other word to describe it. There's no sugarcoating it. He was bad. The receivers were bad. The schemes were bad. Tank Bigsby has been your hottest running back all season. He gets 2 carries. 2. The whole game. 2. And speaking of the entire game, just statistically, it just shows you how much this team sucks. 17 minutes and 41 seconds was the time of possession for the Jaguars. And I know that we're not necessarily a stat-driven show / podcast, but some of these things have to be talked about. The
week prior, too, was bad. Go on.
Yeah, the Vikings, despite only scoring 12 points because, like Mr. Moore said, Sam Darnold turned back into the pumpkin that he is, they ran 82 plays to the Jaguars' 43 plays. 143 total yards of offense on 10 drives. That's about 14 yards per possession for the Jaguars. This is an all-around stinker of a performance. On a day that the defense didn't necessarily play terribly, I am not sold on Ryan Nielsen, his scheme, where he takes the entire starting defensive line out and puts in all the backups for stretches at a time. I don't understand how Brian Thomas Jr., your rookie wide receiver who was in the top 10 in receiving yards, gets 2 targets, and he doesn't get either of those targets until late in the third quarter of the game. I just don't understand it. Doug Peterson said in a press conference after the game, when someone asked him about, I think it was the Mac Jones interception towards the end of the game, they asked him, like, what was the design there? What were you trying to do? And he basically said, I'm not going to tell you because you wouldn't understand it. He's telling the reporters this. He is like a man who is begging to be executed. He's like a death row prisoner that's like, please, I don't want to have my – I don't want to go through the whole process of my – petitions and whatever, all my hearings, please just kill me. And that is my desperate plea to Shad Khan. Kill this man, get him out of here, get Press Taylor out of here. I don't care who is the quarterback for the rest of the season, or who's the coach for the rest of the season. I think they should shut Trevor Lawrence down. Do not let him play another snap in this god-awful scheme.
Well, I was about to ask, are the rumors true that he's going to get season-ending surgery, or is that
if he needs surgery, I think he should get it. There's literally no incentive for Trevor Lawrence to play other than to pad his stats. And I will just tell everyone who, doesn't think that he's good, he is only like 1.2 percentage points off in terms of completion percentage of like Peyton Manning and some of the other folks at the same part of his career. Trevor Lawrence has not been the main problem this season. It has squarely been Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. These clowns need to, like I said, they cannot get out of my town fast enough. Just please, wherever you came from, go back there. I don't care how much the buyout. I don't if there's a buyout in the contract. I don't care. I don't care what it costs Shad Khan. Shad Khan, I just want to also say for the record, is probably a moron. I don't understand how you continue to hire terrible. It almost feels like there was a clause in the contract when he purchased this team from Wayne Weaver that said he had to continue the same tradition of terrible management of the team that Wayne Weaver did. It's like he's contractually obligated to continue to make the same stupid decisions. It is statistically improbable, darn near statistically impossible for a team to be as bad as the Jacksonville Jaguars have been consistently over the course of the 30 years they have been a franchise. It is god awful, the football that people in Jacksonville have been subjected to. And then the last thing I'll say, and I'll open it up for questions or comments, is and you put on top of that, the organization has always acted as though it is the community's responsibility to spend money and support this team even when they suck. And I tell you, Jacksonville Jaguar fans, those of you who are buying tickets, those of you who are going to games, I think the only thing that's going to tell these people to knock it off or maybe send a message is to stop spending money on the team. I have not spent a dime on the Jacksonville Jaguars this season, and I intend to not spend a dime. I have bought no merch, no hats. I've not been to any games. I have not done anything. They are not getting a penny more of my money, at the very least, until Doug Peterson and Press Taylor are gone, and possibly until they prove that they can hire someone competent in their stead. I just saw that comment. No, I personally do not want a quarterback. I believe Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. I think he is the quarterback that we need to have on this roster. I have seen with my own eyes, and I know I said I was done, but I'm going to do one last thing because I don't know, Sam has something to say. I have seen bad quarterback play with my own eyes, both on television and in person. I'm going to give you a little sample of the quarterbacks that have started games for the Jacksonville Jaguars over the years. Ever heard of Steve Matthews? Anybody know who that is? Jonathan Quinn, Jay Fiedler, Jamie Martin. I couldn't tell you if Jamie Martin walked into this room and said, you had to tell me that I had to give you his name or he's going to kill me, I'm going to die. I don't know who he is. Todd Bowman, Trent Edwards, Luke McCown, Chad Henne, Cody Kessler, Mike Glennon, Jake Luton. These are the people that we have been subjected to as Jacksonville Jaguar fans. I have seen these people.
I'm just happy you didn't mention Blake Bortles. I'm just saying.
Blake Bortles, don't you dare sully his name by putting him in the same boat.
That's
Blake Bortles, Blake, he wasn't the best quarterback ever, but he was the most Blake Bortles quarterback ever. He's the boat, man. Listen, Blake Bortles is the only quarterback that get the Jaguars within a hair's breadth of a Super Bowl appearance. So, everybody.
That was the defense.
But he didn't screw it up either. So, but anyway, my point is I have seen bad quarterback play with my own eyes, both in person in that stadium at several road games. And I'm telling you right now, Trevor Lawrence is good. Whether he is as good as he could be based on the scheme and the fit and the coaching right now, that's up for debate. But I believe that Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback. The Jaguars do not need a quarterback. If the Jaguars have the number 1 or number 2 pick in the NFL draft this year and Travis Hunter is there, and they don't take Travis Hunter, I will literally explode. I'm just going to explode. I'll be dead and expect to attend my funeral next year because I don't understand if he's there, how you don't take him. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Well, Evan Payne is chomping at the bit here. He wants to know, which I don't know where he got that the Jaguars wanted a quarterback. I think the sentiments are like, we'll see, but we can't. But as far as what I'm seeing from Jags fans on Jags Twitter, well, like we can't tell until we get weapons and protection. That being said, Evan Payne wants to know, Ken Moore, I guess, because we already know how you feel, Josh. Who would take the number 2 pick and why? Quarterback or Travis Hunter?
Quarterback. For us, for Tennessee, quarterback. Yeah. No question.
Yeah, I think you got to go either Cam Ward or Sanders. I mean, either of those two, I think, would be better than Bull Levis. I mean, I think
if it was me taking a quarterback, I'm taking Cam Ward. I've seen Sanders play. He's a little too rough around the edges, a little too inconsistent, a little too wild for my personal taste.
He can,
in terms of his style of play, I'm not talking about him personally. I'm just saying the way he throws the ball, the decisions that he makes on the football field. That's all.
To me, Cam Ward is the best quarterback in this class.
Yeah, I agree.
He could be a Steve McNair where he can sit on the bench for a couple of years and then come in and maybe be decent. But if you need a QB now, it's definitely Cam Ward.
I guess the question is, if they take him and he needs to sit, is Rand Carthen going to let him sit? Because the every firing or retooling of the staff there is now sort of an indictment on Rand Carthen, right? So does Rand Carthen have the luxury to let Sanders sit? I don't know.
So here's my deal. I haven't seen a lot of Cam Ward. I don't know how many college starts he has, and that's usually a factor in a quarterback's NFL success as to how many starts he's had in college. I know, pardon me, Shadour's been starting since he was a freshman at Jackson State. Started 2 years at Jackson State, started the last 2 years, or this has been his second year at Colorado. So by the time he's done with college, he's going to have started and played in close to 50 games. So he's a lot more seasoned than Cam. Cam may have a higher ceiling, but I think Shadour, with his experience, he can come in and play right away. And the kid's a good quarterback. I saw him play at Jackson. Covered a lot of his games at Jackson State. For those who don't know, I do college football for ESPN for SWAC football. So I've seen Shadour since he was a freshman. And the kid, he never gets rattled. In Colorado, their offensive line last year was as bad as the Tennessee Titans offensive line. So he knows how to operate behind a bad offensive line. And I just love everything about the kid. I love his swagger. I love his confidence. He doesn't get down. He praises his teammates. He's a great leader. I don't know.
Does he though? Does he praise his teammates?
He does.
Does he?
He does.
Come on, man. Let's be honest now. Let's be honest now.
I will say,
if we're being honest, the family name there, lineage, and sort of the swagger that comes with that is a concern at some level, right? Because here's what I wonder: with Deion being his dad, if he gets in an organization like the Jaguars or the Titans and things start to go poorly, does it create a lot of swirl? Right, like the sort of the superstar swagger that they have, they're not ones to sort of sit quietly, whereas like Trevor Lawrence right now is swallowing his tongue a lot and he has not yet publicly criticized the coaching staff or the GM in any way, shape, or form, right? And I'm not saying it's wrong for Sanders to do it if Sanders were to do that, right? But that's the worry I have with Sanders is like, the Jaguars organization is so awful. I don't think he's going to have a whole lot of patience. What I fear, and I fear this for Travis Hunter too, if we sign if we draft Travis Hunter, is that the organization is so inept that we have another Jalen Ramsey situation on our hands, right? We get him for his first contract, and then he immediately hops to free agency as soon as he's able to. So that's, and maybe that's just paranoia on my part, but
Right.
But the one thing I'll say about Shador that I really like about him, he reminds me a lot of CJ Stroud and the fact that I think he's a very accurate quarterback. Like, I think he could throw the ball very well. He can make all the NFL level throws that he needs to. I still think he holds onto the ball too long in certain scenarios.
Sure.
And I still think he has the tendency to have happy feet. And I think some of that could come from how bad his offensive line's been. And I think that could be coached, but you also need to make sure, just like you do with all, guys that you draft that early, that you have the right personnel, you have the right guys to teach him, and he has the patience. And the front office has to have the patience. Like, that is the one thing that lacks with these quarterbacks is there's zero patience. There's not everybody is Jaden Daniels. Like, I'm sorry. It's just like not everybody's going into a perfect situation.
Well, part of the problem is we pay him too much, right? And I'm not begrudging anybody the money that they make, but these quarterbacks are, maybe too much is the wrong way of saying it. The quarterbacks are paid at such a high level, right, that it's the business sort of aspect of it kicks in. It's like, hey, we're paying you $300 million over the course of however many years. We need results right now. We need a return on our investment. It becomes less about the long-term growth and development of the player than it is like, I need a return on that investment I've given you. And I need to see something immediately, right? And I think that's the money that's involved becomes, a driving pressure to get these guys in there and have them play and produce early. Where sometimes that's not always reasonable. Like these are still college kids coming out of college who aren't going to have all the skills built into them immediately to be superstars in the NFL. As good as Stroud is, he's the exception. Like, he is 100% the exception, not only as an OSU quarterback, but as a rookie quarterback in general. Like, him coming in and having the start that he had is not what normally happens with these rookie quarterbacks.
And Jaden,
they put in the investment. They put in the investment for before he got there, though, right? They put a team in place for him. They didn't just throw him into the wild. There was a team. Casario spent 2 to 3 years building up a defense. It's not perfect. It's not great, but they put him in a great situation. They gave him a couple of weapons based on his skill set. I've now turned to the assumption that every quarterback is a system quarterback. It is up to the GM and the head coach to put together a system that matches the skill set of that quarterback, because you do need the ROI. And
Harish would know that because he's used to having old guys as quarterbacks. Keep going.
Yeah, and the system doesn't work for the old craps that we put in there.
I will say this about Tennessee, the Tennessee quarterback situation. Anybody's better than Will Levis. Samuel Burnett can go out there right now and be the quarterback for the Tennessee Titans right now. All right? Anybody is better than Will Levis.
She's a little short. I don't think she can see over the O-line. That's her only problem.
Hey.
She knows where the ball needs to go, but she can't.
Josh,
I'll just fake it.
Use the right pronouns, okay, Josh? It's 2024.
Yeah. Aren't you just as tall as Bryce Young?
My pronouns are Sam Darnold. Okay. So actually, I have a fun fact before we move on to the Texans. So, odd stats. So, Football Perspective has said that Sam Darnold and Mac Jones have played each other 2 times. In those games, the quarterbacks have combined to throw for 663 yards with 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles, and 7 sacks.
That's disgusting. That is disgusting.
So, a new litmus test of people I'm going to talk to about Jaguars football is, if I hear you as a Jaguars fan say that you believe Mac Jones is better than Trevor Lawrence, I'm immediately just discounting every opinion you have on football from here on out. You're just an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, he's no Gardner Minshew. That's right.
And then I hate saying it. Again, Mac Jones, a local kid, grew up here.
Yeah, we had a local kid. We got rid of Shaq Quarterman. Never mind.
I hear you. Like, it's nothing personal, Mac Jones. You just suck.
It's not you. It's just you.
You could have had Derrick Henry too, but
it's not me. It is you.
Yeah, it's definitely not me. It's Mac Jones for sure.
All right. Well, moving on. Matt Briggs.
All right.
At first, I thought your name was Chief Briggs. It's Chef Briggs, but I thought it was Chief Briggs, and I thought,
Look, we don't got
oh my,
Tanner on this show.
he finally did it. He finally
We don't
converted
got-
to a
we don't
Chiefs
got
fan.
Tanner on this show.
I just want to say real quick, Matthew, that I don't appreciate the Texans taking my well wishes that I gave them at the end of that first half when I went to bed, and I was congratulating them on their victory and how well they were doing. And then I wake up the next morning and they squandered it. I just don't appreciate the one time I've ever praised the Texans, they screw it up.
Josh, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to describe this game perfectly, right? Okay. So you go to Las Vegas, you go to Gordon Ramsay's fine dining restaurant, right? And you see all these great scallops, all these, shrimp cabrera, all this T-bone steaks. Like you see these great meals, and then you look in the trash and you see the Houston Texans versus the Detroit Lions. That's what you got. That's what you have. You had a T-bone steak sitting there, and you rather eat out of the dumpster. 5 interceptions, and you lose. Name me another team that has 5 interceptions and you lose.
Franchise record for interceptions in one game. Number of interceptions by your defense.
I'm not even going to talk about the 23-7 lead because we all know what they did in Kansas City. So we're used to that. But
all year I've been saying your new uniforms look like the Atlanta Falcons. They blew a 28-3 lead. You guys blew a 23-7 lead. The similarity.
The only difference is you weren't in the Super Bowl.
But still, here's like you said, Josh. We're not a stat podcast. But I gotta give this out. You know what we're averaging in the second half? 3 points. 3 points in the second half. Counting the last year and this year, we only scored 14 games in the second half. Only 14. We scored more than 7 in 14 games. Like that's a telltale sign. Like everybody wanted. I was one of them. I admit, Bobby Sloak is going to be a good head coach. Bobby Sloak he's a guru. Well, time has finally hit Bobby Sloak, and he's turned into a pumpkin. He has great designs, but 2nd and 8. Let's run the ball. 3rd and 22. Let's run the ball. The run's working. Let's pass. Oh, you know what? You know what's a great call? Let's toss the ball to the running back in end zone so they can fumble it. Like,
I think there was one drive where they ran it up the middle, offset like to the left, and then got like 1.5 yards, and then they did a halfback sweep to one side. And it got nothing. Did a halfback sweep to the other side, got nothing. And then they throw a
wide receiver screen. Like, what are you doing?
Isn't there did you guys see the videos I sent you guys the other day? It was like in the second quarter and beyond, like the EPA for the Texans is like negative. And over the last 2 years, it's like -40. That they're losing like 40 points a season. Just based on the way that they call plays.
And I agree with Josh. That's hard to use that as a turning point, but still, just the play calls and it's not the play calls the whole game. It's just the second half. The first half, we can't sit here and say that you can be like, oh, there's CJ Stroud. He got time. He's making CJ Stroud plays. And then second half comes. There he goes. Like, oh, CJ Stroud's not it. Oh, the Texans are fraud.
Yeah, there's goofy play.
Yeah, but CJ Stroud is not the problem, right?
He's not the problem. He's not the problem. That's what I'm trying to say.
Those goofy play calls on long down and distance do 2 things, in my opinion. They do one, they're just momentum killers. They get the offense can't get in a rhythm. They get out of sync. They kill the momentum, and then it causes a bunch of short drives back to back, and the defense stays fresh. So you're not wearing the defenses out like you guys were last year, because that's what you guys are doing. You guys didn't need to score a whole lot of points in the second half of games going into the last half of last season, because you just worn teams out up one side and down the other, and the defenses were exhausted, and you had a lead, and you just sort of held on to it. But I think, I'm not sold on the EPA stats and some of the higher analytics stuff. necessarily being a guarantee that you would have scored more points, but it definitely kills drives, definitely gets you out of a rhythm, and definitely helps the defense stay well rested later into the game. So
I'm not either, but if you look at like the Texans, right, and how they're losing games and the score that they're losing games by, like over time, that EPA does matter because look, even if they were like an EPA, it was like minus 58 over the last 2 years. Even if they were like a minus 35, that's 50, like 20 points. That could equivalent to like one or two more wins.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They have teams ranked by who has the most third and longs, longer than 10 yards. The second place team is at 38. You know what the Texans at first place is?
50 something.
54.
Yeah, 54.
That gap is ridiculous. CJ Stroud's been hit 72 times, the most in the NFL. Like, and yeah, we got people saying CJ Stroud's the problem. Oh, it's the sophomore slump. No,
was Nico Collins being out the problem?
I think it's a dumb decision they did on Monday night.
And that's another thing I have a problem with. They came out and said we set Nico Collins because the division lost. That's the only reason why they set Nico Collins. If the Colts would have won, they played Nico Collins.
I have a funny
it doesn't make any sense.
For the fantasy owners, but not Texans fans out there. Here's a funny one for you. Me, when I find the person who waited all day long to rule out Nico Collins.
Shotgun.
I just want to talk to him.
Dad, this is ridiculous.
I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to talk to him. I just want to shoot him. I just want to talk to him.
You can't shoot him.
Wait, what are you doing? I just.
So if you had Nico in fantasy.
That's brutal.
That's my fantasy team, by the way. I've won 5 in a row.
It's dumb. And yes, I do. You're right, Sam. I do think he makes a difference because we wouldn't have.
He's practicing this week.
Well, I mean, it's only Tuesday. They usually don't. No, he didn't practice all week last week either.
No, he's saying he will practice. He will practice this week. They're reporting that he will practice this week.
We had a game high of 12 drop passes. We had Tank Dell drop passes, Robert Woods drop passes, Dalton Schultz, Kay Stover. The only two that didn't drop passes was Hutchinson and Mechie. And that's another thing. Like Mechie, what a comeback story, right? The guy had leukemia. Didn't know he was ever going to play a game. Gets his first career touchdown. Now it's depleted because they lost. Like, what? 23-7, 19 unanswered points. And you can't come away with victory. That's why people are not scared of you. That's why they're okay settling for division titles. They don't care about making a run. It's sad.
I don't think DeMeco Ryans is okay with that, though. He does not seem like a coach that settles, right?
Well,
Whether he's got it all figured out to make that push to get deeper in the playoffs, and obviously you guys want a Super Bowl appearance and maybe even a win. Whether he's got all that figured out yet, I don't think he is sitting back and saying, "Well, we're okay with this," and this is.
I don't look at DeMeco Ryans and like at the same vein that you look at like the Titans coach and be like, man, this guy's just completely incompetent.
Well, and let's just look at the standings, Matt. Like, I feel like you're like maybe not like sitting in a mansion, right? Like maybe you're like in a bigger house while the rest of us are sitting in shacks. You guys are sitting here at 6-4. The Colts are at 4-6. The Titans are at 2-7, and the Jaguars are at 2-8.
Okay, the Colts go on a 6-game win streak, and we lose.
We're not going on a 6-game win streak.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Guys, hold on. It's honesty hour. It's honesty hour. We got some people watching on the stream, and we got some people on Twitter. It's time for the truth. We all suck really bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
But one of us is going to go to the playoffs.
All I'm going to say, it's a lock.
You lose in the first round, like always.
It's a lock that the Texans will make the playoffs. They have a 97% chance to make the playoffs as it stands right now. It's a lock, guaranteed. Take out a second mortgage. Take out a second mortgage on your house. Take it to your bookie. Bet the whole thing. The Texans are going to the playoffs.
The Jags had a
right now.
Jags had a 99% chance of making the playoffs. And lost.
They did.
If I could tell you,
that is absolutely not why I bring that up, man. That is absolutely not. I would never wish the same voodoo on you.
Yeah, I had a question for you.
Okay.
Because you're obviously frustrated about the game and how it went. If CJ Stroud is not late to Tank Dell when he's 15 yards wide open and he makes the throw on time, it's very likely you guys win that ball game. That was the turning point of the ball game right there.
Yeah.
That one play. So my question is,
but Robert Woods dropped touchdown is a turning point too. He shouldn't have dropped that easy catch. But go ahead. Yeah, I'm feeling you. Go ahead.
I got you. So my question is, how much does your tone change if you win that game 30-26? Because that's not a pick in the end zone. Instead, it's a touchdown to Tank Dell. Do you still have the same criticisms of your offensive coordinator?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Because it's the same story every game. The only team really blew out this year was the Patriots. I mean, that's not the team. If we didn't go out to go get a Stephon Diggs, yes, he's hurt. I get it. If we didn't go out and get Joe Mixon, we didn't go get all these pieces just to be winning games by 3 points. Sorry,
probably be the same boat as the rest of us, honestly.
I would tell you though, that I think this is where I think Houston fans have an unreasonable expectation. I've heard people other than Matt say that they think that their offense should be blowing teams out on the regular, right? The average margin of victory for NFL games over the course of the history of the NFL is like 6 points or less, right? Yeah. So the real litmus test at which your team failed and the Jaguars have failed many times is when you get into these weird, wacky, closely contested games like you had Sunday night. Your defense is getting 5 turnovers and it comes down to a possession or two. Can you more often than not find a way to win those games? Now, right now, I think actually the Texans more often than not this year and last year have won those games. Last night, or this past week's game, they didn't. But I think the litmus test isn't do you blow teams out on the regular. The litmus test is the close contested games. Are you more often than not winning those games?
But I agree with you, Josh. I do. But this is where I'm starting to blame even D'Amico. I'm blaming the coaching staff because they go conservative in the second half because the stats are there. I mean that Packers game, no reason why we shouldn't win that game. We shouldn't have let the Buffalo Bills come back. Sorry, Haris, we shouldn't let the Indianapolis Colts come back. There's no reasons why we should let them come back.
Do they go conservative, or are teams making adjustments because they figured out slowly?
No.
Yeah, you're right. They are making adjustments, but
I mean, that's a legit question. I don't know. I don't know.
I also think
after this, we'll have to move on to Colts because we are running over time.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, a quick thought, because watching that Colts game, it almost felt like they were intentionally finding ways for the Colts to get back. Like if you look at like the fumble at the end of that game, like why are you making that type of call at that
point? Exactly. Well, this is real quick, and I'll move on. It's them going conservative, and you're right, Josh. It's them making adjustments, and then it's the Texans saying it's okay. We don't need to make adjustments. We'll coast by. Obviously, you won't coast by. You got to make adjustments, and that's why we'll not make a deep playoff run because they refuse to make adjustments, especially in the second half. I'm done. I'm out.
All right, real quick before we move to the Colts, Evan Payne has a question, and we'll keep this brief, yes or no, okay? Because he wants to know. Does Deion Sanders, he says, does Prime go to the NFL if both kids leave the program this year? We're speaking of Deion Sanders. Yes or no? So. No. What do you think, Ken? No. That's all around nose.
Yeah.
Just to be an a-hole, I'm going to say yes. All right, yes, moving on. I don't know. I mean, depends on if people pay him, but yeah, we'll see. But anyways, all right, Harish, you said you had a lot to say. You've got a history of old timers in your franchise, and I'm just going to let you go off before we shut this thing down. So let's hear it. Hit us with it.
Played this first football game, right? And so, no, not the first. It felt like the first. We played the football game. The first 2 possessions of the game, interception. Who throws an interception on a freaking screen pass? Like, how are you throwing the ball behind the receiver on a freaking screen pass? I was pretty much done with that game at that point. So I just sit there and I'm just saying, all right, well, let's just see what happens. You come back into the game. Jonathan Taylor, he has a couple runs. You're running the ball well. And then, you know what? Joe Flacco comes out. He's got a couple good passes. Fumble. The thing that pisses me off the most about this organization right now, after the game, Shane Steichen's being asked, "Hey, are you going to go back to Anthony Richardson?" Which, number one, was a stupid reason to come off of him in the first place, and the answer that he gave was, "Joe Flacco's a leader."
Joe
What in the
Flacco's a
hell
what?
is he leading? Joe Flacco's a leader. What exactly is he leading? Because
The all-pro interception team.
to me, he's leading like the world's greatest interception team of all time. There's Joe Flacco has 6 turnovers in 2 games. People were so pissed about Anthony Richardson, turnovers. He had 6 in 6 games. But Anthony Richardson was apparently the problem. The problem in Indianapolis is that Chris Ballard should have been fired 3 years ago, and he wasn't. Frank Reich was fired 2 years too late. And now Shane Steichen is probably going to get fired just based off the fact that Chris Ballard will be fired at the end of this year. The organization, Jim Irsay's got to hand this game. He's got to hand this thing over. This thing is a sunken ship. Chris Ballard essentially has made it a toxic environment.
Hey, I know the perfect GM. He has a gig for NBC, but I bet you he'll take it. Jeff Saturday, perfect GM for you guys.
You know who I really want? I want Louis Riddick. Like, that is my number one choice for GM. I love Louis Riddick. I think he would be, and I've said this last year and I got laughed at, but coincidentally, guess who really likes Anthony Richardson? Louis Riddick. And Anthony Richardson, the whole Anthony Richardson situation was enough for me to say, you know what? Get rid of Shane Steichen.
So I have a question about that really quick. Actually, I know I said I was going to let you go off, but I haven't been on here. So last week when he tapped out or whatever, were you mad about that? Did that make you mad?
I wasn't mad that it happened because in the moment, nobody knew it. That's why he was leaving. Nobody knew he left because he was tired. When you tap out and a guy that's already had a couple concussions, you think, dang it, he just suffered another concussion. That's what I was thinking in the moment. Now, what I didn't like is his explanation, like what happened when he actually told us what happened.
Why don't you lie there? Why don't you
just lie? Yeah. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Just say, oh yeah, I felt a little dizzy. Make something up. So that's media training number one. But when I found out about it, I was like, yeah, that sucks. Whatever. Just move on with it. But it is what it is. Was I mad about it? Yeah, I was.
Do you think it's worth it for them to keep him out because of that? I mean, I know team. No. This is professional ball at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be different if this was high school ball or even college, but this is professional football.
This is professional football.
You have people paying a lot of money to watch this. Yeah.
Paying him a lot of money. You wasted a draft. And I told you guys, I wasn't a fan of the Anthony Richardson pick because when it happened, if that was the one year where it was like, ooh, if I didn't get CJ Stroud, I wanted to trade. I didn't want Anthony Richardson. But here's the thing. This is who we've got. This is where there are our stupid GM who lied to the organization for 8 years. This is who we ended up with. And so this is where we're at. And then you put him in and you have the balls to really bring in a new coach and say, oh, you know what? He needs a lot of, in the offseason, you tell the fan base, be patient, a lot of work, and have a lot of starts under his belt. It's going to take some time. 8 weeks into the season, you pull the guy. Really, the entire organization can suck it at this point. Get rid of Chris Ballard. Bring back Jeff Saturday as the head coach. I don't care. I don't want anything.
They should. That was epic. I loved that.
I'd love it too. I don't want anything to do with this regime. I'm done with Chris Ballard. I'm done with Shane Steichen. Blow it all up.
At this point, you got to find out, is Anthony Richardson any good? You got to play him enough to figure it out. Yeah.
And Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen are not going to do enough over the next 3 years. And I know that much is true. This organization has absolutely failed this young man. After telling him that what they needed, why they drafted him, they absolutely failed. And,
So Harish, when do they put him back into the lineup? Do you think they
tomorrow?
No,
tomorrow.
I know what you want, but I'm saying, when do you realistically think they will put him back into the lineup?
Knowing how what's the word cocky Shane Steichen is, and how much of an arrogant son of a gun he is, I don't think they'll do it for another 4 weeks. The initial thought was that this little stretch of games that we went through and the teams that we're playing, they wanted a veteran leader. So probably what is that? The Lions. I think after that there's maybe one more top team that they're gonna play, and then they move back to it, because I don't think we're gonna win any of those games. We're not winning this weekend. We're not beating the Lions. We're not beating whoever the hell we're playing after that. We're not beating
the Jets this weekend.
We're not beating that. We're not beating that. I'm telling you right now.
Aaron Rodgers, he sucks.
Not gonna happen. I'm telling you, it's not gonna happen. I would be shocked if we beat the Jets. The state of this offense, I would be shocked if we beat the Jets. We could barely move the ball more than 30 yards without a turnover.
Yeah.
So after the bye week.
Yeah, it would be after the bye week. They kind of end the season, and it's kind of like, what, Chris Ballard at that point, it's like, yeah, I'm getting fired. Who cares? Shane Steichen's probably, yeah, I'm getting fired. Who cares? And then they just move on.
You think they will? In the middle of the season?
No. They move on after the season. No, they don't fire people in the middle of the season. What happened with Frank Reich and Jeff Saturday a couple years ago was an anomaly to how the organization, how Jim Irsay operates. That normally isn't something that happens. They even kept Chuck Pagano after the whole punt disaster, through the end of that season. So yeah. They'll wait till the end of the season.
Well, guys, I am happy to be back. It's been a very long year, and I'm excited to not be doing what I was doing, which I will not name, but I'm happy to be back here, and I've missed you guys a lot.
Oh.
And
Don't be fucking lying.
Real quick, Evan Payne asked if I would take Quinn Ewers. As much as I love Quinn Ewers, I would not tweak Quinn Ewers, because then that would just effectively mean we quit at Anthony Richardson. You can't do that. You can't quit on that guy. I'd love Quinn Ewers. I'd love to have Quinn Ewers in those offenses, but it's just not realistic. We need a left tackle. Kelvin Banks. Give me Kelvin Banks.
The whole AFC South needs a whole lot of people. That's what it comes down to. We, like I said earlier, we all suck. We're all battling for the tank. It's very reminiscent of a couple of years ago, before we got Trevor Lawrence, being at the Jags Bears game, and all the Jags fans cheering for the Bears, and all the Bears fans are like, what? We're like, we're trying to tank, bro. We got this. Anyway, I'm happy to be back. I've missed you guys. Can't wait to finish out the season. It's been a long time coming. And Ken, it was nice to be on a show with you, your first time.
Yeah, it was cool.
Welcome to the shit show.
Yeah, you're more welcome back.
Welcome to the shit show.
I appreciate it.
So,
you guys people at Danger Zone Podcast, help me out.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Tell us, because I especially for the audio listeners, I want them to hear. Tell us where to find you on socials and everything like that.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on YouTube at Danger-Zone. Put the hyphen in the middle of the Danger Zone Podcast. On Twitter at KMore Sports. And then if you guys are fans of SWAC college football, you can find me most Saturdays on ESPN Plus calling college football for ESPN. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, Harish down here has a Longhorns podcast too, so you guys might have to
hook them.
Yep.
Sure.
Y'all might have to do a little collab there as well. All right, Matt, go ahead. Where do we find you?
Yeah, you can find me out everywhere at A1 Day One Texans, and of course Wednesday nights on the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. Two of our guys, Crenshaw and Keno the Messenger, dropped the new Texans anthem. A horrible time because the team is sucking, but it's a good song. It gets you pumped, so make sure you check that out everywhere on Spotify and Apple Music.
Crenshaw is my favorite Texans fan, by the way. Don't tell Matt Briggs. All right, Josh Allen.
Don't go there. You said you have undying love for VT, just like you do Jalen Ramsey. So
I will literally get in my car right now, and I will drive to Kansas City to Arrowhead Stadium, where I know I'll find you because you're actually a fan of them, and I will beat you up. Anyways, moving on. Third best, Josh Allen. Go.
You can find me on X or Twitter or whatever we call it now. Josh Gives Up. You can also find my autographed picture on Sam's mom's refrigerator.
Oh my God. Harish.
That's good. That's funny. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi. Of course, Thursday nights with my boy Tim Wayne and the Texas Longhorns Fan Battle Podcast. And then Tuesday nights, obviously not tonight, but Tuesday nights with the Horseshoe Mob Boys, where we talk about how much we hate Chris Ballard. Well, actually, I talk about how much we hate Chris Ballard. Tuesday nights on the Horseshoe Mob Podcast.
And you can find me, Sammy Football with an I, on Twix, and also our podcast, AFC South Fan Battle, on Twix as well at AFC SFB. I didn't mess it up even after being gone all this time. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you next week, and I will be here.
Sam loves Jalen Ramsey.
Sit back in your saddle and get ready for the fan battle.
That was too